All right, I'll try.
Of course you will. Of course.
Hello, everybody.
Julie, it looks fun.
It looks good. It's good. It's all set. It's all set.
Happy Friday night.
Shalom.
David Goodman, we'll do it again.
Shabbat Shalom all.
We'll say it again later, about Monday.
Shabbat shalom.
I think the
Shabbat shalom,
pulpit will give us a
everybody.
plug.
What?
The pulpit will give us a plug tonight.
Really?
They're supposed to.
Okay, well, if not, I did already.
You did. Thank you, sweetie.
IoT Minion will be mentioned this evening.
Thank you,
Very
Rabbi.
good.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's great to see everyone. I love this kind of a Shabbat where we have a special guest who's not so much of a guest, but she is special. We have Cantor Katzman with us this evening, and we're so grateful that she'll be leading us in service, in song, and in spirit. So Cantor Katzman, I believe you're with us, so you could take it away.
She's actually still hanging out in the breakout room. She's just hanging out on her own, probably playing music, sounding incredibly beautiful.
She might be having a glass of wine and hanging out and talking to Morris, telling a good joke. That might be what she's doing, and that's fair.
She's here.
And you know what? I was singing so beautifully in the breakout room. I was so impressed with myself.
We were impressed too.
Thank
we just
you.
were longing for you. You built up the suspense, and now that you're here, we're so excited to sing with you.
I know. Well,
You're Chadash.
I gave my best stuff.
No. You now. That was just a warm up. Now
Oh,
you're
okay.
sure.
Okay.
Page 648, Shir Chadash.
Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. I will sing unto God a new song.
I love this Torah portion. On this Shabbat, we will read tomorrow morning from Vayishlach, in which we hear about Jacob wrestling with a being. Maybe it's wrestling with God, maybe his brother Esau, maybe himself, maybe an angel. We don't know, but he wrestles until morning. And here's the thing about it. Whenever we come to this Torah portion, and I don't know about the other rabbis or Cantor Katzman, if this is true for you too, but I always think of a certain book by a certain rabbi called God Wrestling Round 2 by Rabbi Arthur Waskow. Like, I've always thought about this ever since I was in rabbinical school, because this book talks so much about how we're all on this journey of wrestling with things that are divine, things that could seem ordinary, but still have messages to teach us. And so we go round and round again in this world together in community, looking for messages and seeking blessings. And so on this Shabbat, we hear from this book a little teaching that might serve us well on this Shabbat. He wrote, I have learned to understand time and thought as a spiral, neither a straight line that must always go forward, even into a precipice, and not a circle that must remain forever stuck in repeating past experience. Instead, a spiral, which curves always backward in order to curve forward. What makes time and life into a spiral instead of a straight line or an endless circle is setting aside time for reflection, for rest, for renewal. That renewal time is the curve that moves the spiral onward. So let us on this Shabbat see that we are going to rest in order to notice our spiral, moving us to reflect on past Shabbatot that brought us warmth and meaning, and also to move forward in order to say, this is our community, this is our blessing. Look at what we are, all of us together, lighting the lights, being able to bring in the joy of Shabbat. So I invite us in this spiral of Shabbat to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, to greet each other in our chat, either here in Zoom or on Facebook, to say Shabbat Shalom. And we're so excited that the Asher family is with us this evening to be able to help to kindle the lights of Shabbat. And so we are grateful that Miles will become a bar mitzvah tomorrow, and that his parents are with us tonight, Jason and Vanessa, and that Ian is with us as well. We are grateful to you and the ways that you inspire us. And we invite you now to turn to page 120 and lead us in the kindling of the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed you are, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Cantor, would you also lead us in song?
Sure. Baruch atah Adonai oops, I'm on mute. Am I? I am not.
We can hear you.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And we continue now. Again, Asher family, we are so grateful for you. We're excited for tomorrow. And we continue celebrating the holiness of this time with our Kiddush. We turn to page 123 and rise in spirit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
L'chaim. We turn now to page 138 as we sing together the words of Lecha Dodi. We sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. On that final verse, we rise in spirit as we welcome in the Sabbath bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad yishmi'anu el echad. Adonai echad v'shemo echad v'shemo tiferet v'lila. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם משוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבת תחילה. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. התעוררי, כי בעובדך אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלי יגלח. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, כאן בשמחה ובצהרה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חנה, בואי חנה. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat halai yanai 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 Shabbat nekavela.
We turn now to page 142 as we think about those angels, maybe that Jacob was wrestling with, saying what we need most in this world right now is peace. So we invite those angels of Shabbat, those angels of peace, to come and bless us with peace and go and bless this entire world with peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, melech malachei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now to page 146. We rise in spirit for our Baruch Hu. On the next page, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhma potech sha'arim, v'vidvuna meshane itim u'machalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim mishmarotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mabdil ben yom u'ven layla Adonai tzavaot shemon, El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'Ma'ariv Aravim. And as we thank God for showing our loving, guiding way through Torah, we say Baruch Ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. And shall we continue with Mi Chamocha on page 158? Okie dokie. Mi Chamocha b'yamim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh, notat mitzvot osek malchutcha ra'u panecha, okeyan lifnei Moshe. Malchutcha ra'u panecha, okeyan lifnei Miriam. Zeili anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, lai 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 lai.
As we prepare for Hashki Venu on page 160, a reading by Valerie Dicker. How strong we think we need to be, fortified with iron. Sharpened spear prepared to strike. If only we were not so frightened. Scared, sad, trying desperately to be the center of our world, when all we need to do is that someone else's hand has formed our universe already. Daniel, page 160.
Hold on 1 second for Hashkivenu.
I mean, the Hashkivenu is the perfect one to hold for. So,
It is. I think, Rabbi, I would like to hear more about your feeling about Hashkivenu.
So if you're going to give me the space, I would think about the alarm systems that they didn't have in the desert. The aspect that our ancestors were out in the desert in tents, really at the elements, and how scary the evening would have been, how scary it would have been that it's dark, you don't know what's around. And here we are in our deadlocked homes with our alarm system. And how difficult it can sometimes be to connect to that.
You are such a good rabbi. Keep going.
This is what rabbinical school really prepares you for.
Yes.
So this aspect of Hashkivenu, for those who may have been away at summer camp, that's where I always go with this. That time when you slept on a bunk bed next to an unlocked door in the middle of nowhere, feeling that small feeling of being in the desert in a tent like our ancestors. Page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu, umoenu, l'chaim u'shalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
And with that peace, we celebrate the peace of Shabbat with our words of Vishamru on page 162.
Okay.
Well, Vishamru, you imagine being out on a tent. Oh, no?
No, it's okay. You're so good. I was just testing you. I was testing you. Oh, okay. Vishamnu b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם.
On the next page, we prepare for the Amidah, taking those steps into God's presence as we rise in body and spirit on page 162.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ובשמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Reading by Eric Fromm. Rest, in the sense of the traditional Shabbat concept, is quite different from the rest being defined as not working or making an effort. On Shabbat, we cease completely to be animals whose main occupation is to fight for survival and to sustain our biological life. On Shabbat, we are fully human, with no task other than to be human. And take a moment of silent prayer and meditation, each of us in our own way.
יהיו לרצון עם רפיח ציון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, לגואלי.
Those words, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable unto you, Adonai, our God. We ask additionally, Adonai, our God, that our words and our deeds that help to heal our world, that God, you see those with your loving light and reflect that healing back to us, back to our friends, our families, our loved ones, those who are in need of healing. And now, if those who are here in our Zoom room or on Facebook, those in our Zoom room are able to, in a moment, unmute and share names aloud, or you may add them to the chat on here or on Facebook.
And I know that Cantor Ben David is in all of our hearts and our prayers. She is comfortable and at home. She literally got rid of a pain in her neck. And so thank God she's doing really well. And we're grateful to be able to keep her in our prayers, even as she's healing beautifully.
Liviana Bree Salzer.
Karen Platt.
Cynthia Russell, Wally Windsor, Kathy Dorothy.
Bert Cole.
Linda, Lauren, and Jeff Bigham.
Carolyn Rosenstein.
Stevie Marks, David Axelrod, and Judy Sherwin.
Bert Kaplan. Rebecca Luker.
Trisha Volchek.
Kim Dombrow and Connor T. Keefe.
And we add to those names Marge Hilliard, Steve Summers, Melissa Josephs, Rochelle Baddock, Elaine Baddock, Jonathan Spitz, Gigi Green, Debbie Frank, Elizabeth De Bruyne, Alec Jaladen, and Dr. Stephen Migalski, Susan Levine, Alana Worth, Don Sable, Jim Clemens, Ruth Jablonski, Dr. Noel DeBacker, Gary Schroeder, Karen Keene, Linda Lewis, Millie, Dan, and June Renetz, Nancy Goldberg, Siobhan Kissy, Dacia Posner, Bill Walters, Sarah Golub, as well as Ethel Herbstman, Florence Bernberg, Hazel Golden Lee, David Matasar, Grace Creel, and Rabbi Ellen Dreyfus.
שברך אבותינו וכל הברכה באמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. שברך אמותינו וכל הברכה לאבותינו. Miss those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
everybody to take a moment to imagine themselves in this scene. You have a brother who you've been estranged from for many years. You're going to meet him for the first time in a long time tomorrow, and you are very nervous. You know that he feels deeply wronged by you, and there's a good chance that he's still pretty angry about it. You don't really know how you feel about him either. You're traveling with your family to go meet him, and then suddenly the word reaches you. He's coming, but he might not be coming alone. In fact, he may be coming with an entire army. That is a moment of ultimate uncertainty. It might sound like the story of the biblical twins, Jacob and Esau, who are dramatically reuniting in this week's Torah portion. But in some ways, that ultimate uncertainty is also our story. That ultimate uncertainty and that feeling is the story of our lives changing dramatically within the span of a day or a week as the coronavirus situation unfurled. It's our story of waiting and holding our breath in fear in the days before the election. We might have tried to quickly put it behind us, but just about a month ago, the New York Times was reporting that thousands of Democrats and Republicans around the country were all buying guns for the first time, arming themselves in case our country descended into violence. Now, this ultimate uncertainty continues to be our story, as what is actually exciting news is released about vaccine development every day, and we begin to try to anticipate what is going to come next. Many of us are wondering and are a little nervous about what it will look like to return to a changed world. What will our work look like? Will our favorite stores and restaurants survive? Will we ever go back to normal? Do we want to? As we've learned painfully over the last year, the only thing that is certain is that we don't always know and we can't always know what is going to happen next. The night before Jacob saw his brother Esau was similarly a night of frightening unknowns. When we read the story, we see that Jacob's terror is palpable. He divides his family into two groups to try to keep them a little bit safer. Then he does three things. He prays, he wrestles, and then he demands a blessing. I'll say it one more time. He prays, he wrestles, and then he demands a blessing. Jacob prays, and not only is it a beautiful prayer, it's the first prayer ever recorded in the Torah. Jacob says to God, Hatzileni na, please save me, or please help me. He begins by admitting his vulnerability and recognizing that he just would like some help. He doesn't downplay his situation by saying, look, God, I get it. Other people have it worse. Take my dad, Isaac, for example. His father tried to sacrifice him. This is nothing in compared to that. It's just not so bad. Instead of downplaying the moment, he steps into his feelings and acknowledges his fears. Then Jacob wrestles. The text tells us Jacob was left alone, and a being wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Who was Jacob wrestling with? There are many ways to understand this story, but the idea that Jacob in one way or another was wrestling with God lies at the heart of our entire Jewish outlook. Wrestling with God is not just an approach to theology, it is a symbol of our refusal to accept the status quo. And yet there's another interpretation that Rabbi Conover mentioned at the beginning of the service, that Jacob is actually wrestling himself. On this night of fear and uncertainty, the night before being reunited with his brother, Jacob is forced to confront the demons of his past. He struggles with himself through the night as the challenge of this upcoming encounter brings to the surface everything he has been running away from in his adult life. The story continues. He says, "Let me go, for dawn is breaking." But he answers, "I will not let you go unless you bless me. I will not let you go unless you bless me." We've all experienced times of immense fear and anxiety, but imagine if we could end those periods by demanding from ourselves that we bless ourselves. Imagine if in our worst moments of struggle, we saw ourselves not just as worthy of, but as requiring of blessing. Throughout this year of ultimate uncertainty, in our urgent desire to feel like things are as normal as possible, I have noticed that we are sometimes reluctant to demand blessings for ourselves. In fact, we're often mad at ourselves. We say things like, "Even though I'm working around the clock, I just feel like I didn't get enough done." Or, "It's been 9 months into this pandemic already. I should just know how to do this." But what if we demanded a blessing from ourselves for ourselves? What if we said, "I am living through an extraordinarily difficult moment in human history. My world is marked by tragedy, change, and uncertainty. I'm struggling with this time, but I know that I am resilient, impressive, and strong." I want everyone to take a moment right now and think, what blessing do you need from yourself for yourself? Whatever it is, patience, compassion, kindness, love, I hope that whenever you are struggling, you can take a moment and demand that you bless yourself. You can say, "This is hard, but I am patient. I am compassionate. I am kind. I am deserving of love." Jacob ends his struggle by demanding a blessing from himself, and in doing so, he is able to see himself completely differently. So differently that he emerges with a new name. He's no longer known as Jacob, but as Israel, a person who has elevated his struggle into a holy struggle. We are living through many moments of ultimate unknowns and many nights of wrestling with ourselves. We don't know how we will be changed, but we do know that even in a challenging time, we can continue to demand blessings from ourselves along the way. Let's demand that we give ourselves the blessings that we need. Shabbat Shalom. We have some announcements, which are blessings for our community. The first is that there is an IoT minion on Monday morning. I believe it's at 8 a.m. And I'm very excited to see many of you there with Rabbi Conover. The second is that there is going to be a Hanukkah candle lighting every night of Hanukkah on Zoom. It's going to be incredible, and different communities are going to be, or different community groups are going to be leading each candle lighting in different and creative ways. So we'd love to see you all to bring in that light together. And the final one is that we are doing I'm sure many of you have heard, we are doing a Hanukkah drive-through extravaganza. So the idea is that we can't be in person together to celebrate Hanukkah, but that doesn't mean that we don't deserve joy and blessing and light. So we're gonna ask you to sign up to come drive by the temple. There will be music, there will be donuts, there will be boxes full of candles and dreidels and that kind of thing, and we will safely hand it to you in your car and wish you happy Hanukkah as you drive safely home. And I think those are all our announcements.
That is so exciting. I can hardly wait for all of that, especially the Hanukkah, both picking up the box and then being able to celebrate as a community each night of Hanukkah. And I also know that we're very excited for this Sunday when we're going to hear from Ted Merwin, a doctor no less. How many doctors come and tell us about delicatessens and actually encourage us to eat more deli versus the other way around? So we're very excited for him to share with us like a little bit of historical, a little cultural. I think it's going to be great. I hope we'll all have a nosh as we learn from him. 10:45 this Sunday morning. And I also know that some of us are going to be delivering Hanukkah boxes of a different sort to those in need this Sunday. And so, Rabbi Gelman, what time will we be able to come by the temple? Is that 10?
Yeah, for those who signed up for Hanukkah boxes, we actually are lucky enough this year. We had such a big turnout that we have enough drivers. We're not even asking for more right now. But I believe the email was for 10 o'clock. Everyone who registered to drive boxes was sent an email. Yes, it is 10 a.m. if you already registered for it.
All right, shall we turn to, this time I'm not going to miss the cue, dear Rabbi. Shall we turn to 586 for Aleinu? עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We take a moment now to remember those who we have lost, whose lives we want to honor by sharing their names out loud. You can share them by unmuting yourself or adding them to the chat, and we'll read them out loud for you.
Edgar Strauss,
Michael Cooper,
Leon Fish. This is your side.
Jerry Chemical Goodman.
Ed Ducey,
Howard Vian, Sandra Goinshore.
Phyllis Delenko.
Linnea Levins, Linnea Cutler.
Judd Weinberg.
We add to those names Mark Andrews, Hope Schaefer, John M. Griffith, Richard Wellick, Jerry Maurer, Sydney Przansky, Janet Donald and Susan Sipes, Elise Levin Casey, Sarah Katzman, as well as Francis Mills, Troy Lindquist, Neharushala Naomi Solomons, Gerald Gartman, Robert L. Meyer, Julius Rabai, Lois Graf Rubin, Sue Bowen, Rochelle Ricky Burko, Dr. Richard Rosenstein, Dr. Walter Barker, Herb Pomerantz, Edward Ducey, Tova Roth Ben Yosef, Beverly Bodker, Elise Levin Casey, Goldie Kogan, Phyllis Dorfman, Sam Farsht, Nathan Feinstein, Barnett Fisher, Albert B. Friedman, Martin Fuhrer, Phyllis Kaddish, Samuel Kaplan, Gertrude Carnes, Sarah Katzman, Theodore Komen, Paul Krulwich, Isidore Levine, Fanny Malmud, Dr. Robert Nathan Meyer, Ernst Mendels, Elaine Relzen, Mendel Rockfeld, Seymour Rosen, Leonard Rubenstein, Barbara Feldman, Jean Feldman, Larry Gordon, Joseph Rosenblatt, Sheila Rosenblatt, Robert Libin, Patty Sandler, Jack Shepard, Melissa Sherman, Mandy Siegel, Morton Smoller, Jerry Stein, Charles Stix, Gert Tiemann, Bertha Wolf, Tony Wolf, as well as Leah Botpanina, Sam Garst, and Charles Stix, and Irene Rothstein. We rise and turn to Kaddish on page 598.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudeshav b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shalamo rabba min shemaya v'chayim. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom, 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 bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru Amen. We turn to page 649 to join in singing Tfilat HaDerech. May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.